Hello, my name is Colton Salzer, and this is our introductory video for AEP 858. So, personally, I was born and raised in Piedmont, South Dakota. It's right in between Rapid City and Sturgis, South Dakota. So, if you've ever heard of the Sturgis Motorcycle Rally, I actually graduated high school from Sturgis. And if you've ever heard of Mount Rushmore, Rapid City is about 30 minutes south of Mount Rushmore, so in the beautiful Black Hills. So, I do have one dog. His name is Moose, and he's my motorcycle riding buddy, as you can tell. And I have a cat, Scout. He has not yet rode the motorcycle. Not sure that he would be a fan if we did, anyways. With being born and raised on a ranch, work a lot of cattle, love riding horses, stuff like that. I also love to scuba dive. I've been scuba diving all over the place, from Catalina Island off of California to the Cayman Islands and the Bahamas, and up in Seattle. We even have some areas to dive in South Dakota. We have some dams that used to be towns, so it's kind of fun to go down there and see like the foundations and stuff. There's no buildings left down there. They took all those out. There is a dynamite check down there that's kind of fun to swim around in. And my goal this next summer is to actually go down and find the railroad bridge that I've heard is down there. So that's the next goal. This car is actually 95 feet down, and some kids stole it and drove it off into the dam, and they just never brought it back up. So if you look close, there is somebody put a mannequin in the driver's seat and dressed them up as a scuba diver, so it's kind of fun. I also love riding my motorcycle, again, through the beautiful Black Hills. I'm currently in Syracuse, Kansas, so I don't ride near as much down here as I did in the hills. One, there's not as much to see, and two, with all the dairies and feedlots, there's a lot more to smell, and it's not for good reason. I love watching the Vikings play. I've been to several games. Really depending on the Sunday if I love watching them or not. This season's been kind of rough, but I think it's been kind of rough for everybody. So, and then I love to travel. I love picking up and going places, meeting new people, different experiences, different cultures, stuff like that. I actually did 6 weeks of my student teaching in Italy, and that was phenomenal. All these things, from working cows to being in the Black Hills to scuba diving to traveling, I try and bring all that into the classroom. I show students pictures and videos of my dives and the hills and stuff like that when it fits into the curriculum, and it makes it that much more exciting for them because it's a personal aspect of the teacher, and students really like seeing that. I'm really excited about it, so it gets them excited. So that's why it's one of the reasons why I do a lot of the things I do, just to kind of help bring it in and show kids stuff that's out there, and whatnot. Because again, we're in Syracuse, Kansas, so there's not a lot around here. So give them something to look forward to. Professionally, I'm starting my third year teaching. My first year I taught first grade, and then the last 2 years I have taught third grade. We decided to departmentalize this year in third grade, which it has been fantastic because I teach science and social studies, and so I'm able to get a lot more in depth than we used to with science and social studies, and that makes it a lot easier and a lot more exciting for the students, because before we only did like 30-minute science and 30-minute social studies if we got the time, because we all know that's kind of something that usually gets cut out if we are running out of time. So this gives the kids enough time to do those fun science projects and experiments and all that fun stuff, to where they're learning but they don't realize they're learning. And then this is my second year as junior high assistant football coach. Even though I teach in the elementary, I love working with the junior high kids. Our elementary, junior high, and high school are all in one building, so I can just walk up the hall and say hi, see the players, and kind of get a feel for what they're doing in their classes. So when it comes football time, I can make that connection with them, ask them how their projects are going, anything like that. I'm also on the board of trustees for the Hamilton County Library, which is really cool. I've never been on a board of trustees before. It's really interesting. It's a totally different way to look at libraries and business aspect of it, so I'm really excited about that. So my goals are to advance my education in many different areas. And with that, I want to become a better teacher. Um, this has really helped me see things differently and be able to understand things in ways that others don't, just because not a lot of people take the administration courses. Um, this is going to sound like a really weird comparison, but it's kind of like scuba diving. You can get your regular scuba certification, which is great. But if you get the what's called search and rescue certification, even though you're not searching or rescuing somebody, it still makes you a better diver because you look at things differently. You look at more detail, and so it just makes you overall a better diver, even if you don't have to use it, which hopefully you don't. It just makes you a better diver because you look at things differently, and that's what's happening with this degree so far itself. Is I've learned a lot of stuff that and look at stuff differently that I probably wouldn't have looked at it like that before. So, and I feel like it's really made me a better teacher. And eventually working into a principal position, this gives me a lot of opportunities to work with our principal, who is fantastic, and ask those questions and get some specific information of why something's being done, or how would I do that differently, or why didn't she do it like this, to really get a true understanding. So the process my school uses for analyzing data, we do a lot of our stuff based off of our Ames Web testing scores, and Ames Web is for reading and math. And so then that's taken 3 times a year, and we break the sections up into 3 different groups, the 3 different tiers based on the results of those tests. And then we do what's called advisory. So it's a half hour out of the day, and we're not doing it this year, but we've done it the previous 3 years. And so then based on there, and we do it mostly just for reading and not for their math, which is unfortunate because it would really help with their math as well. But that may be coming at some point, but right now we're just doing it for reading. And so then the ones that need the most help are on a different level than the ones that are more advanced. So we use what's called pathways for the lower kids, and we use that in our classroom too, but the kids that are on the lower end of our tiers get it twice, just to help try and fill in those gaps, because we've seen a lot of really great growth with our pathways program as well. And then my own knowledge of how to use the data, I personally always look to do at checking for understanding at the beginning of a lesson, to see if I need to reteach anything, see where the kids are at. And sometimes kids just have a bad day, and they know more than what they're showing. So it's just a matter of trying to get it out of them so that you can see that they know it and not just have that hunch. So I try and do different things to try and get that information out of them on what they really do know, what we really do need to revisit. And then, just like I said before, with taking this class, I've learned a lot of stuff, like putting my class into tiers when it comes to how they do on their worksheets and their quizzes and informative assessments, so I can kind of get an understanding where they're at, and then I can work separately with them if need be to get them caught up. And that's one thing I never thought about until taking these courses that I've been taking for my administrative degree. So that's a huge thing for me, a huge step for me to become a better teacher. And then my plan is to learn the best way to gather the data and how best to use it, because realistically, data doesn't mean much if you can't use it productively for the students. And that's why we're here, is to get the information that we can use to help better our students. If we know they're struggling in an area, then we need to use that information to work on that area. And I just want to find out the best way to do it. There's so many different ways to gather that, and so I want to know what the best ways are and the different ways, because each student, again, learns differently. They show that they learn differently, so it really takes it really takes a while to get all that information down and figure out how to get that and use it best for the student themselves. And then we want to make sure that when we do get it, it's not always just the same assessments because that gets kind of tedious. So we want to make sure that we are creative with our ways and make it fun and interesting and make it so that students don't get nervous about it. So, but that's my plan, and hopefully I've already come a long ways on it, but I still have a long ways to go, and I am looking forward to all the other information that I'm going to get in this course.